In a world where truth hides in the shadows, faith still shines through. Where the seen and unseen collide, when everyone else is of the world, we are the Not of This World podcast.
Hey, welcome to Not of This World. I'm Josh, and I've got our other host, Steve, here with me.
Howdy, y'all.
So yeah, if you guys like what you see today, if you relate to it at all, if you're a Christian yourself and just like seeing more Christian content getting out there into the world, please like and subscribe. It really means a lot to us and really helps get us out into the algorithm, into more people's feeds. So we'd really appreciate it. Thanks. Today's going to be a little bit different of an episode. We brought a special guest, Kobe, who is a friend and fellow church member of Steve at the church they attend. And we're going to have him on here giving a little bit different perspective than old man Steve and myself here. Bringing a younger perspective in and kind of getting the opinions of the youth going for some of the stuff we talk about. But with that said, Steve?
Yeah, we're going to use a time machine today. We're going to go back to the year 2000. We've shared this in episode 2 of our testimonies. Josh and I met that year, and for me it was a significant chance meeting because I had spent a few years in the Marine Corps where I was hurt, and I was not making the best of friends or meeting the best people. And so for me, when I first got to my duty station with Josh, and we found out that we had common friends back in Arizona, it changed my life, and it's still to this day. But ironically, that's the same year you were born.
Yep.
So in the time machine, did you PlayStation 2 came out that year?
I did not until
Okay.
I did play PlayStation 2 when I was probably 7 years old. But
So we survived Y2K,
okay,
and then you came along,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Gladiator, the movie, came out that year.
He's like, what does surviving Y2K even mean?
Yeah, I was like,
Actually, Survivor, the TV show, came out that year,
Wow. Okay.
which is still being filmed. Big Brother as well. NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Britney Spears were all the rave.
I remember that.
Yeah. Harry Potter, the first book, came out that year.
First book.
Yes.
Oh, I was going to say, no movies didn't come out back
The
then.
book came out that year.
Okay.
The movie Castaway was very popular.
Mm-hmm.
But since you've been born, we've seen some changes, right?
Yeah.
We've seen smartphones. We have AI now. We've seen CRISPR. You know what CRISPR is?
Mm-mm.
The genetic editing.
Oh, you were,
Where they're starting to bring back things from like the extinction.
Yeah, the dire wolf they've got so far, right?
Social media has been a big invention or creation that we've seen. We used to have like MySpace, which is pretty awesome. I don't think you ever got on there, but MySpace was the best.
Yeah.
It needs to come back. And then we've seen Elon Musk create space exploration a different way where NASA's not, it's like commercialized now. So we've seen all these different changes in life, and I just want to see what's your perspective on how your life's been since 2000 to 2025, and maybe after we're done with hearing your life story, maybe we can go into talking about it and comparing.
Okay. Yeah, that's a big question. I'll kind of try to start as early as possible. I am, as you kind of introduced, I am Christian. I was raised Christian, and that very much is who I am, and I try to, live that out every day. I'll say I really faded from that kind of during middle school and high school, so I'll get to that. I kind of jumped to middle school already. But yeah, I was born in Colorado, lived there for 18 years, have an amazing, loving mom and dad, one younger sister, and yeah, we've always been, a close-knit family. I'm big into sports, so big basketball player. I actually coach, so I love, coaching, working with kids, and anything sports related. I just love sports. So that is difficult too because I found my identity in sports for the longest time. So trying to kind of, get out of that and focus on, again, family, things that are a bit more important than just sports. But yeah, anyway, grew up, my dad always coached me. We were all close-knit family. Got baptized as a family when we were 10, I believe, at like a Heaven Fest festival in Colorado. So that was really cool. Got to listen to like Casting Crowns and, popular Christian artists at that time. So that was really cool. Again, that shaped me and who I am. So very grateful for my upbringing, for my family. And then again, now getting to kind of middle school, high school times, I was just kind of around the wrong crowd, if you will. I think a lot of people can relate to that. I was also, as an 8th grader and a freshman going into high school, playing with like juniors and seniors in basketball and baseball. So obviously around older, not the best influences. So again, being from Colorado early on, I kind of got into things that I wish I hadn't at the time, but now I'm grateful because that's who I am because of what I went through, right?
Yeah.
So that is kind of part of my testimony and story. So To get more specific, I was really good friends with. His name was Dallas. Me and him had met in kind of seventh, eighth grade. He moved from a smaller town to our even smaller town, and yeah, we just hit it off right away. We were super close. We were both pretty gifted athletically as far as baseball and basketball is concerned, and so we were able to play up with this older range of people. So he happened to have an older brother and older cousin that were seniors at the time when we were going into high school. So obviously we were hanging out with them, making bad decisions. We smoked too much weed, and that was, part of kind of that's what we did. So we would practice, we would go hang out afterwards. So anyway, we hung out all the time. We got super close, and unfortunately, our sophomore year, he ended up passing away. So that was pretty difficult. I struggled with that for a long time. I'd say early on, right after it happened, because my parents were the biggest supporter of him because he knew what we were doing, right? And my parents obviously loved me and cared for me and wanted the best for me, but they knew I was making bad decisions with him. So it was hard for me to go talk to my parents and just tell them how I was dealing with the loss of him, because in my mind, I'm like, they don't even like him. Why should I talk about him? You know what I mean? I think that was a lie from the enemy. I wish I had talked to them at that time, but I didn't, and I really stuffed and hid my emotions. So I'd say the rest of sophomore year, junior year was just different. It was really difficult. It was a super small town, so it really impacted everyone, impacted the community. But I felt like I needed a fresh start, and my parents and family were kind of in the same boat. So we actually ended up moving my senior year. So I graduated at Castile by the church we go to, and basically that I thought that was going to be a fresh start, right? I thought that was going to be helpful. Really, I realized I lost everyone. So I lost my best friend that passed, but really moving, I actually lost all my friends, all my family members, just because I didn't stay in contact with them very much. I was pretty isolated. I'm naturally a shy person, so I might be a little camera shy right now, but that's just kind of who I am until I get open. And by the end of this interview, I'll probably be yapping the whole time. You guys will tell me to be quiet. But anyway, I didn't really mesh with anyone here in Arizona at my new school. I also didn't try at all because I still was, a little bit depressed and kind of going through things, figuring out who I am. And again, I found my identity in basketball. That's what I mentioned earlier. So basketball season didn't go the way I wanted. I'm 5'8", I'm short. I probably should have picked a different sport. But I made the team. There was 13 seniors, and I just really didn't play at all. So that was really difficult for me, just, sitting the bench. My grandparents would come watch games, but it's like me sitting on the bench, so that was difficult because, again, I thought I was this good basketball player. I thought I was this, I thought I was that. So I kind of had to step back and realign and refocus who I wanted to be kind of in that moment. So my senior year was very forming. It really formed the way I am, the way I think, just because I saw what it's like to be very isolated and to not be a light, basically. I wasn't, in the Word. I wasn't really praying, listening to worship music at this time. This was, again, kind of a low season throughout high school where I just wasn't, I wasn't me. I wasn't present. I was, depressed, anxious, all those things. So I'd say towards the end of basketball season is when I actually started, it started showing physically. I kind of had some physical health issues where I called it heat rashing. My body would get super red and itchy, and I couldn't sweat. So that was the main issue. I couldn't sweat at all. So basketball practices started being very painful and very difficult. And I got to the point where, honestly, I almost didn't finish the basketball season. I almost didn't graduate. I was in a lot of pain. So it kind of progressed and got worse. I did end up barely graduating. I had 2 absences. If I had 2 more absences, I probably would have graduated. It was very close. I wasn't going to school, and what would have been, my freshman year of college, I was basically bedridden that whole year. I couldn't work out. I couldn't sweat. I couldn't go out. We live in Arizona where it's crazy hot out. So if I went outside within probably 30 seconds, I was just painful and itchy. And then it kind of developed into different emotions. So if I would feel fear, I would get this heat rashing and I would be super anxious. If I laughed too much, which is crazy, it would come up. So I was basically robbed of just what would have been my freshman year of, college. And that was really difficult. Eventually I, again, have very loving and supportive parents. They really helped me. I tried a bunch of different doctors, different allergens and stuff, and no one knew what was going on basically. So finally got to a point I was very, rock bottom and was like, hey, maybe I should start praying again. Maybe I should start reading the Bible. And again, my parents were very influential in that. So I really just tied the heat rationing, the pain, to the enemy. So I just started rebuking the enemy almost every single day when it would come up. I rebuke you, enemy, in Jesus' name. I can't live this way. I'm not going to live this way. I'm 18, 19 years old. I have so much life to live, So I was very tired of staying stuck in that. So it was a lot of like mental talk and prayer, and just God definitely answered my prayer, and he stepped in. So I think I kind of forced myself again. My parents were probably more the ones that forced me to just go get a job. It was a Safeway deli. I hated it. It was not a fun job. I've always coached kids my whole life. That's what I'm passionate about. And so having a coaching job, just serving people, it was actually really good for me, and I actually learned a lot there. I only lasted 2 months there, I think. But I was washing the dishes, I was talking to people, and as I'm doing that, I'm in a lot of pain. I'm itchy and stuff, but I'm just mentally like, I can't do that. I'm here serving people. I want to try and be a light at this time. That's when I was starting to get into the faith a bit more. And um, again, through God's will and His grace, I was able to finally get out of that and overcome that heat rash. So to this day, when I sweat, I just kind of smile. I'm grateful because I can sweat again. I can work out. I knew what it was like to not be able to work out, not be able to do anything for a good year and a half, which should have been my most like influential years. So for that, I didn't go to college. That's another part of my testimony that I'm actually very grateful for. I think that's one way I'm a little bit different than a lot of my peers. I've kind of seen, them go through college and kind of where they're at now in life, and I've just kind of worked since then. You know what I mean? So I am grateful for that. I think I have a lot of life experience because of that. Also, thankfully, because if I was in this scene, I probably would have been influenced like I was in high school. I probably would have been partying and drinking and doing all that stuff way too much, and um, so I definitely can step back and see like, the passing of my best friend or the health issues for a year and a half. Like I genuinely can see God's hand in that and what He actually probably protected me from and saved me from. Like there were probably much worse outcomes or things I could have gotten myself into, right? So I'm grateful to just have gone through those things. They have genuinely shaped me, and I don't know. I want to help others that have lost a close friend, especially at a young age. He was 16 years old. Like that's crazy, So
Life changing.
yeah, 100%. So I think because of those things, after a year or two of once I kind of overcame those health issues, I was kind of like, okay, I'm good, back to my old ways, So got into. I've never been a big drinker, but I have again smoked a little bit more than I'd like to admit. And that's something I've thankfully overcome. But it's just I got back in that cycle again, and my life has just been cycles. I feel like ever since kind of the passing, where it's been highs and lows. I've had good seasons where I am reading the Word, I am doing my best to pray and listen to worship music, and then again the influences and distractions come in, and I think a lot of people can relate to that. But if you have that base and that grounding of just people that care for you and like-minded, ideally, preferably Christians that will hold you accountable and get you out of those ruts or those low seasons, you're going to be okay. So I am very grateful for the few. I have a very small circle, but the few close friends and family members that have helped me when I get in those lows. So again, I've followed that low for a long time. I'm 25 now. I should have said that like 20 minutes ago, probably. But,
No worries.
Yeah, the 2000 should help.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Some people can't do math, but
The math isn't mathing sometimes.
Sure. But anyway, so I am 25. So from that 18 to 19 range, that was difficult. And then I'd say from year 20 to 24, it was kind of just what I just talked about, the seasons where it was up and down, a little inconsistent. I've had different, coaching jobs and working with kids. And that is something I genuinely believe is a gift from God, is just kind of my ability to work with kids and be patient, because that is not easy. So I just, every single day, I coach, whether I've worked at a rec center, a school, whatever I've done working with kids. I just try to go in there and just be a role model. I want one kid to know that I see them and I love them, I care for them. Like a lot of kids need that. A lot of kids don't get that, unfortunately. So I feel like I've filled a lot of cups. I filled a lot of cups for kids and other people, and then I kind of neglect myself. So this is now kind of getting to the more recent story, wrapping up the testimony a little bit here. But I finally, for once, decided to move out. This was about a year and a half ago. So moved out, really started working on myself, who I am, who I want to be. I had a really good job that I really enjoyed, really flexible schedule, and I ended up finding a girlfriend at the time. And unchristian, like, we moved pretty quickly. She moved in fast with me, and I thought everything was great, right? I had my own place, I had a girlfriend. I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with her. Like, things were going well. Work was really well. I enjoyed it, and I was feeling very blessed, and I was very grateful. But I really, again, at this time was in a season where I wasn't walking with God, I would say. and I was doing it on my own power. I'm like, oh, everything's good. I don't need, again, another thing a lot of people I think can relate to.
Yeah,
Once you're up here,
very, very common.
yeah, 100%. So when you're up here, finally for the first time in my life, I was making like decent money. I was living paycheck to paycheck. I honestly kind of got in a greedy mindset where I was like, you know what? Like I have my own place. I have a job that I really like. This might be the time to actually like start my own business and try and do this. And I was just searching, like seeking X amount of dollars, right? I just wanted to do more. So, long story short, that year I fell back into a lot of temptation. I was living on my own. I didn't have mom and dad to help me and hold me accountable at this time. Also had the girlfriend where she was gone a lot of the time and she was kind of busy with school and work. And again, I had a very flexible schedule. So I had a lot of downtime and wasn't making the best decisions again. Same thing, smoking kind of came up again. Gambling was another one that was kind of like a problem, I'd say an issue. So those were a couple things I was trying to deal with and overcome. But I think the gambling really led to my greedy desires, right? So long story short, the relationship didn't work out and I was like, okay, now's my time. I'm going to start a business. I'm going to like, let's get to work. So, that was about the end of my lease and my parents, again, I've said this 4 times now, mom, dad, if you're watching, I love y'all. Thank you guys. They helped me a bunch. They brought me back home. They invested in me to start this business. Let me backtrack right quick, guys. Sorry. Right before I moved out, I felt like I needed to grow. I was kind of stagnant. I was stuck. I was in kind of a similar season where I was going through these ebbs and flows, these ups and downs. And I wanted growth. I wanted to seek, closer to Jesus. I wanted to figure out who I was as a person. I was 23, I believe, at this time. So I moved out, and I'd say within 2 months of me moving out, I met this girl somewhere we worked together, and I thought she was the one right away. So quickly we moved in together, and I'd say things went well for the first like 6 months ish, and then things just started to change. Our schedules didn't really align, and long story short, it didn't work out. So she ended up, getting her things moving, and she left one thing when she left. She got all of her stuff except for one book. It's called The Alchemist. Have you guys ever read it? Have you heard of it?
I sounds familiar.
I have heard of The Alchemist. Okay. I've never read it though.
I got you. I love it. It was very transformational. It's the most sold book besides the Bible. It's like literally number 2 universally. It's basically a self-help book, finding out who you are. I think the reason it is so widely sold is because it relates to almost every religion. So everyone can kind of relate to the story and kind of interpret it in their own way. So for me, the book is very much a Christian book explaining, like, it's basically this young shepherd boy. He is kind of at a crossroads similar to where I was at this exact time of like, who am I? Who do I want to be? Like, what do I want from this life? So he was a shepherd. He had to basically give up his flock of sheep. Let me backtrack just a second. This king visits him and basically says, hey, I know you're searching for this treasure. There's this treasure in Egypt, but to go find your treasure, you need to give up everything you have. So first step is sacrifice, right? Sacrificing and understanding, like, to me, the king in this story is Jesus. So Jesus is literally meeting him face to face. He just appears out of nowhere, basically, and is like, hey, give me this if you want to go find your treasure on this journey. So he's very reluctant. He's like, I don't know if I can, as most of us do, and you kind of hesitate or don't jump to say yes to Jesus or to God or to the Holy Spirit right away. We're very like, on my timing, right? So he waits, and he's like, okay, the king's like, okay, all right, I'll be here in 2 days, or I think it's 1 day. At this time, meet me here if you're ready to, go. And he does. He meets him there. He gives him his flock of sheep, and the king pays him very little amount of, like, this is all you need on your journey. Just go, basically. So he was the first, like, they call it an omen in the book. There's 3 omens or 3 people that come and help him. And to me, that is God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. Those 3 that basically visit him. As we're Christians, we believe God in one. That's the way I interpret this book. 3 in 1. So he met Jesus. He gives it all, and he decides to go on this journey. A little along the journey, he's thinking about backing out, going back. That's when, to me, the Holy Spirit, like, is with him. That's when he is within him. He visits him, and I believe at this point I can't remember, guys. It's been like 2 years since I read this book. But anyway, he gets met by this Holy Spirit, in my opinion, and he basically encourages him and is like, keep going, you're almost there. You've almost found your treasure. It's like a genie or something, I think, like a reader. Do you guys know what a reader is? Like a how do I explain this? They have very much spiritual, like, gifts, and they read, like, this is your future. Like, they're
fortune teller.
Yeah, fortune teller.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I'm like trying to find the word. So a fortune teller is like, just keep going. You're gonna find your treasure, and basically prophesize these things. So he keeps going, and finally an alchemist appears, and that's to me just God. That is who he meets, and the alchemist is like, your treasure was you all along this journey was within you. It was finding out who you are. Like there was no, he thought there was going to be treasures in Egypt, like the pyramids of Egypt. He gets there and there's nothing there. So that's when the alchemist is there. He's like, it was you all along. It was within you. It was me with you. Like your treasure is yourself. It's people. It's not worldly. It like basically telling all this is temporary. You know what I mean? Like there's no riches that we can take with us.
Yeah.
It's just what we do with our faith, basically, is the way I interpreted it. So that was just such a cool book, and that just like clicked. I over explained that because I love that book. Like y'all should read that. Anyone watching this, read that book. Seriously, like it's a Bible for me, and then it's that book under it. It was just really cool and influential. And to me, it wasn't a coincidence that my ex left this book, and it was the one thing she left. To me, that was very much like God's hand in this. It was God's timing because that 100% started my journey. I told you guys earlier in my testimony, I grew up Christian. My family is Christian, but me getting baptized at age 10, that wasn't like a me decision. It was kind of just a family. We all kind of did it together. And then I was very, I'd say, lukewarm for the longest time, especially through high school, until, again, year 23 or age 23, when I kind of read this book and started realizing, like, okay, I need to work on myself. There's a lot that I need to change. I wasn't ready for a relationship yet. I want a wife. I want kids, but I have to work towards that. God basically showed me that. So again, I think it was very much God's hand of just leaving this book in my room on my dresser is the one thing she left behind. And that really propelled my journey of like, okay, now my name's Kobe. I love Kobe Bryant. My dad literally named me after him. So I went and got it's called Relentless. It was like Kobe Bryant's trainer, it's a self-help book. So I was starting to read all these self-help books, and they were good. They were influential. But it just started showing me like I need to keep growing. I need to find myself. And basically all of these self-help books and all this thing that I went through just led me to Christ and led me to Jesus, and that led me to the Bible. I basically finally came to the realization like, hey, maybe I should read this book for the first time ever. I've read a little bit here and there growing up, little kids, Christian camps and stuff. I remember some verses, but I have never read the book.
It's the ultimate self-help book.
Exactly. Like you don't need any other self-help book once you really get into it and start reading it. So yeah, finally got the Bible in front of me. I went and bought a Bible, was starting to read that. And around the same time, I started my business, and I don't like calling it my business. I think this was I'll just tell this story really quick because this is God's hand as well. I had a job I really enjoyed it. I was talking about my job when I lived alone. I really enjoyed the schedule. It was nice. I was very grateful. I was a director for basically an enrichment program. So I was able to coach kids around the valley here in Arizona, just different schools. And it was just really cool. I really enjoyed it. So I've always wanted to start my own youth sports program. That was something I've kind of always wanted to do since I started working with kids 10 years ago. And I felt like it was the timing. Like, again, I'm going to bring up the ex again. She actually interviewed with my boss that gave me this job. So her, interviewing, and she was like, oh, I don't want the job. And I was like, listening into their conversation, I was like, this is my dream job. So I ended up actually calling this guy a couple days later. I was like, hey, you interviewed my girlfriend the other day. Can you interview me right now? It was just cool. So he's like, again, God put these people in my life where he just opened doors through people. And I think he does that a lot of the time. Where it was just really cool. It all lined up, and I love this job. And I was like, okay, now I want to go make my own business based off of everything I just did for the last year. But I wanted to operate morally correct, right? Like I didn't want to operate out of greed, like I think a lot of businesses and business owners do, unfortunately. I wanted to have very good values. And again, this was when I was really getting into my faith. So I was like, I just want to go be a PE coach, basically, a mobile PE coach, but be a light every single day, however I can. So yeah.
Why don't you plug your business right now? Tell people what the name of your business is.
Okay. It's called Kid Rise. So I've always, since I was younger too, I've always thought Rise Up. That's always kind of been a thing in my head. I just want people to grow.
And where can people find your business?
Yeah, so it's online. It's just kidriseaz.com. I only operate here in Arizona. Early on, I wanted to expand and grow and do all these things, and I was kind of operating out of greed, I feel like. And I've really dumbed it down, and it's a small business, and that's what I want it to be. I had a couple employees, and I kind of realized I want it to be me. I want to be the one coaching. I don't want to be doing admin that's not fun. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not a businessman. I really am not. And it's all from God. I don't have a college degree. I don't have any of these things. I'm a coach, and I want to coach and be a light for kids. So
you're just so modest. You're not going to say anything, and it's worth saying it because it's your business. It's part of who you are, and the way you're describing yourself. It's great, dude. Like you're not moving out of selfish reasons, but I do think like there's a lot of need for that in Arizona right now. There's a lot of parents who are taking their kids out of school,
right?
Where a job like that's it's good for you to mention to people, especially with your Christian values.
Right.
People are gonna be like, I want this guy around my kid.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. That's cool. Thank you. Because it's something where it's hard for me to like take credit for that because I can really like step back and see God's hand in it, like the timing and just how doors open. I was completely broke. How could I start? Like my parents helped me. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
How to get equipment. There was all these costs, and at the end of the day, like it is very difficult. And I'm sitting here. I've been operating Kid Rise for a little over a year now. And it's very difficult being like my own boss and having my own schedule. I'm by design a little bit, as you know, with these seasons, I can be a lazy person at times. So it's hard to hold myself accountable. Like my boss isn't yelling at me like with quotas and doing this and that, you know? So I have had seasons where I haven't worked a lot or haven't prospected a lot. And then God quickly reminds me or humbles me in a season where like, Kobe, like I gave this to you, go be a light, go work at these schools. And so I think just through that, let me get back to kind of my story and testimony now. Early on, I started for the right reasons and I was very grateful and I saw God's hand in it. But after a month or two, I saw the money coming in and I was like, dude, 3 months ago, I couldn't even like eat out. I couldn't eat any fast food. I couldn't eat at a restaurant. I couldn't do anything. And now I have like, I can live comfortably for the first time in my life. So that was actually really hard for me to just like switch. I don't have a college degree. I'm not great with money. Quickly on, I was like, okay, now I want to get X amount of money and I just want to keep growing and growing and growing my business. And it's all about me. And I was like, again, humbled very quickly, thankfully by God. And this is the story now, getting into it, how I was humbled, in my opinion. Like I, again, was starting to read the Bible. I was starting to listen to worship music a little bit more, but I was still kind of on the fence. I was very lukewarm, thinking, oh, it's all me. I did this business at times. This was the bad mindset I had gotten into. And I got humbled because I wanted to go prospect at our church that we go to. I went to meet someone, a higher up like director of the church, basically, hey, can I offer my youth sports program at your church? I wanted to kind of partner with him. And we talked business for probably 5 minutes. And then we ended up talking life and testimony for the next hour. And it was one of the most influential discussions I've ever had. I still remember the guy's name. I love him. Very grateful for him. He invited me to one night. It was basically a young adults event, 18 to 25-year-olds that they do at our church weekly. And this event was a once a year thing. So it was just happened. I met him on a Tuesday. He invited me to the event Thursday. He's like, yeah, you should go check it out. I was like, yeah, whatever. My mom has been inviting me to go to young adults for 7 years, from 18 to, or I guess I was 24 at this time now. So for the last 6 years, my mom's been inviting me. I'm like, no, Mom, I'm not going to go. She's like, you might find your wife there. You might do this. And that. I'm like, I don't want to go, Mom. So anyway, it took me finally meeting this guy and to be like, okay, maybe I should go, because I went in selfishly thinking like, hey, I just want to partner with you. I want to start running my business here. And he did. He kind of humbled me. It was like, I think he probably saw that's the way I was operating, right? He probably saw I was like operating out of greed. I just wanted to find these clients and keep growing. And he said, I think you need to go to this event this Thursday. And then he kind of, again, talked about his testimony, asked me about mine, and we had a really cool conversation. So I was very grateful for that. I over explained that because that's a very like pivotal moment in my life and the start of this long testimony, where I ended up going that Thursday night, and it was incredible. Like I went down, again, by design, by nature, I'm pretty shy, and it takes me a little bit to open up. You guys are like, no, you're not. You can sit here talking this whole time. I just sat down. It's Thursday, so I'm watching Thursday Night Football on my phone, all alone at a table outside, right? The event starts in like 5 minutes. This guy comes and sits down by me. Really cool, really open, welcoming person, and he's just talking to me. And he's like, hey, how you doing? Have you been here before? I'm like, no, this is actually my first night. Just got invited, and I name dropped the guy. And he's like, oh, he's my boss. And I was like, oh, do you work here or something? He's like, yeah, I work here. And he just kind of said it humbly. That's all he said. 5 minutes pass, he goes in, we have a cool conversation, really nice guy. I walk in and he's the preacher. Like he's the preacher on the stage. I'm like, dude, I just asked you if you worked here, and you're like the preacher. Like I just thought this. What's up?
Who was it?
Hunter.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's the young adults, preacher. So had a cool conversation with him, and then I sat down and he basically introduced me like a leader to sit by, and his name was Corbin. Fast forward, I was in his Bible study for a couple months. I was very influential too. But we sat and we talked, and I was just like, dude, what's up with these people? Like you are all so like open and welcoming and nice, and it didn't seem forced. It didn't seem faked. It was like, maybe this Christianity thing is like legit. Maybe I do want to go to church more often and be around these people. I had never been in biblical Christian community ever. You know what I mean? Again, growing up from a small town, I wouldn't say like that the town or my friends were Christian. Not yet. Now it's cool to see because as I have talked and had some discussions with some friends, like they are Christian, and we have just the coolest conversations. I literally get off track here, but literally had a conversation with one of my good buddies I haven't talked to for probably 6, 7 years, and we got to talk for 2 hours. This was about a week ago, about his testimony and how he came to the faith and my testimony. I'm like, dude, if you told us 10 years ago we'd be having this conversation, like we would laugh at each other, like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? But it was just so cool, and it's such a cool moment of like God is working through all of us. Like this, we are. I'm so off topic right here, but we are going through a revival right now. Like this has been a huge revival, and it's cool seeing that in my friends, and around my age demographic. I know we'll get to that later. Sorry, guys, but it was just so cool. Like being in that community, this young adults event, and just felt very welcome. Basically, is what I'm trying to get at. So, I was like, I gotta go again. So I went the next Thursday. I went the next Thursday. Suddenly, I get all my rap and hip hop music out. It's only worship music, and I think that was one of the biggest things for me personally was getting out that bad music. Right. Of course, when I'm listening to drugs and all these bad things on rap songs all the time, like that's what's going to be in my subconscious. So I encourage all my friends and whoever I'm talking to, like, you got to listen to worship music. And there is like worship hip hop music. Me and Steve have shared some songs that we like that are, a little bit more hip and modern Christian.
Yeah, I mean, words have the power of life and death, and when you're constantly using words that revolve around death and revolve around evil and darkness, that's what's going to be
Or lust.
or lust.
Yeah.
That's what's going to be going into your soul.
100%. Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Yeah. So just cutting that out basically completely for the next, I'd say, month or so, just pairing, all the time worship music every time I'm driving somewhere, going to Thursdays, and then I wanted to start going to Sunday actual church services again, and just pairing all those things and actually like reading the Bible, like being excited to read the Bible too. Dude, that it just God was working. He was changing my heart. So this is all about December of last time, all this happening. I ended up joining a Bible study, and I was just again around so many people that have helped me. It's nothing I did. It's genuinely God's hand, and like working through people. Like people helped me, and that's why I think it's so important for people in the church to just be very open and welcoming, but don't force it. Like be genuine with it, because you never know what people are going through. Everyone's going through different things, and like I was at a very low season, but at the same time I was at a high season, if you will, because I was making a lot of money and I was being greedy and stuff. But it was like that's when I needed help the most, because I could have totally been gone and stayed down that road forever. You know what I mean? So, um, I try to help others in that same sense that are newer. For example, last night, me and my buddy, we were gonna invite two new friends that haven't gone to young adults to this exact group that I was just talking about. They were gonna go last night. They kind of bailed last second. Is what it is. Hopefully, we'll get them next week. But I just I see how people helped me throughout my journey, and I want to do the same for them. So, sorry guys, I'm so flustered right now. But basically, that event was super helpful for me, and that really started my journey. So I'd say since then, that was again around November, December time of last year. I ended up getting baptized at Rock Point in January, and it was like a me decision finally. Like, yeah, I got baptized as a kid with my family, but like this time was like I'm ready. I'm declaring it. So since then, yeah, man, it's been amazing. Like I've just been in biblical community. I've had a lot of people that have held me accountable, challenged me, and that's through Christianity community. You know what I mean? Like I love my friends, but they're not giving me what these mentors at times have given me. You know what I mean? So, um, yeah, I think that's honestly kind of wrapping it up. And now it's here in November, and I've had some highs and lows, and it's been difficult, but I feel like changed a lot and grown a lot and increased in wisdom, and that's all from God. That's all glory to God. That's this reminder on this bracelet that I wear, because it is easy for us as humans to like take credit for something. Like hey, you're really good at this game, or you're really good at sports. And it's like, yeah, thank you. And we can get inflated. I definitely did for a long time until God has humbled me through multiple seasons. Yeah, that I've kind of explained here. But yeah, I think that's kind of the testimony. Now I got to watch my sister get baptized a month ago. My grandparents are going too soon. And I'm just like,
That's awesome.
It's so cool, dude. Like I want to try to evangelize and help others, because I know how many people helped me. Like it wasn't me, it was all God working through people. We should all be alike and all do that. So that's yeah.
Do you have any questions about his testimony?
I mean, I will have questions, but one thing that really stood out to me was God's speaking to us all the time in little ways, and so many people just aren't looking for it or don't take the opportunity to answer, and they miss out on so many opportunities that God's putting in front of them. But that stood out to me that you did an awesome job. Like when that book was left behind, The Alchemist was left behind, a lot of people could have just thrown it away, or
100%.
called and said you left this book and
Right.
gotten it back to him. But that was God handing you that opportunity to read that. He knew if your eyes got on that book, that was going to be a nudge to start getting you back. And then the same thing with hearing that phone call, and a lot of people could have just been like, man, I wish that was me getting that opportunity, but you took it and you called that guy and gave yourself the opportunity. Even though it was God giving you that opportunity, you took the steps in obedience that he was trying to put in front of you. So that was really cool to hear.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
I think it's all correlated too. You just look at the story when I started talking with him and how I got to my first duty station, and like, I didn't go into heavy emphasis on it, but like literally my best friend at the time was cousins of his at a different high school in different, like, Tucson.
Right. Right.
And the just the randomness of that, like, it made it so we almost had to be friends in a way, or at least like each other.
Yeah.
Because whatever we did in the Marine Corps was going to get back to them.
Right.
And so if you were a little jerk and you go back like that, Josh, oh yeah, he's a real jerk. And his friends would be like, wait, he's a cool guy. And go like, no, you don't.
No.
Yeah.
He's
So all your
not.
dirt would be exposed in your normal life back home. But full circle, when we went to go volunteer for that youth church group for the summer camp, I didn't want to go do that. I really didn't.
Right.
But I started 2025 saying I will say yes to anything God brings to me.
That's cool.
And I'm not saying I'll change it after this year, but it literally, anything that came, like this podcast started because Josh and like, let's do a podcast. I'm like, just for God, we're doing it. But the same thing how I met you, if I didn't say yes to you, us three, just through God working, we're all here at this moment right now.
Exactly.
Because God worked it out and he knew this was going to happen.
Yeah. That's what I think is so cool. And that's what I try to encourage others. Like, yeah, you went through some difficult seasons. We all do. There's so many things that people go through that we don't wear it on our sleeves. We don't talk about it. We're afraid to show it. Like, I really encourage people to step back and be like, why did I go through this? Why, like, what can I learn from it? How can I turn it for good? Like, God uses the bad for good. That's what he does daily, all the time. Middle school things, huge things throughout our life. Like, step back, take that daily inventory and realize that. You know what I mean? So,
you were talking earlier about your success and the things that you can get in your own head.
Yeah.
And there's something about that. Like, if you talk about yourself, you can hear yourself talk about yourself that way, and you're like, this. It almost doesn't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
But the minute you say, "All glory be to God," there's this weight lifted off of you that you're like, "Yeah, that's good. That feels right." Giving honor to your God, being like, He's honored me with this, and He's given me these things, and like, 100%. It does make a huge difference.
Yeah.
So.
Isn't it cool how we're talking about, the little opportunity that led to this, little opportunity that led to that? Just how amazing God is. There's 8 billion people on this planet. And it might even be more than that now. And just 3 of those 8 billion have little tiny minute details that happen in our daily lives all of the time that impact and set things up to be exactly what God intends them to be and make them out to be. Right. It's just mind-blowing sometimes when you think about just the power and magnificence of what he does.
100%. And if that fact doesn't humble you, like, I don't know what will. Like,
right?
We like to make ourselves our own gods, or we think we're capable of doing this or running these things successfully. It's like, no, dude, that is all God. Like, he is all powerful.
But if you're acknowledging that at 25, you are so far ahead of, like, I won't speak for you, but for me, 25 years old, if I told my story what I was doing at 25 years old, it was not honoring God. And it was the last thing I was doing was honoring God at that moment. It was right before I met my wife, but I was going through, like, living of the world 100%.
Right.
Which also, I was thinking of that while Kobe was talking. So God knows the plans for our entire life. He knows the day we're going to leave this earth. He knows everything about it. And it's cool how he starts to call people back at different times and starts bringing them back because he knows what his plans are for you and how it's going to align. So, for instance, Kobe getting called back at 23, 24, God has a plan for that. The fact that he let us go off and live our lives and learn all these other different lessons to end up getting back in our 40s, he's got a different plan for it.
Yeah.
But it's cool because it's always about what we needed to learn during that time in order to get to where we're ready to do what God wants us to do in this life.
Yeah, 100%. It's always his timing and his will. And that's why I mentioned earlier, it is hard because a lot of the time we ignore, say no, or like, God, I'm not ready for that yet. He's like, I've made you ready.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just let me let you do it. You know what I mean? So,
like, I showed you everything you needed to see to be at this point. So yeah, you're ready. You're moving forward.
Exactly.
Let me ask you, so when you were a teen, and I'm really sorry to hear about your friend that had to be really hard to go through. Um, when you were stepping away from God, obviously you said you were raised in a Christian home. Your parents are believers. What was their attitude during that time? How were they reacting to you stepping back from church, and what did they act like towards you?
I love that. That's a good question. I'd say with love, they've always operated out of love, especially my mom. She has the biggest heart out of anyone I know. She's very caring and loving. And yeah, they would correct me and do it a bit sternly at times, but it's like it's all out of love. All they ever operated it out of was love because they wanted the best for me. They saw that I was going astray. They knew that during that traumatic season that I could fall into even more temptations and could go down a very negative path, right? So yeah, they were always there for me, always very supportive, gently, sometimes sternly nudging me the right direction. This is kind of a funny story. I failed a drug test my sophomore year. This was a little bit actually before he passed, and that's kind of the reason why my mom was like, "You should hang out with this guy," because we got caught during school. We had like a weed gummy or something stupid, like a weed brownie, and we were texting, being all dumb, sending a bunch of emojis. He got grounded that night. His mom took his phone and was like, called my mom right away, like, "Our sons were doing this at school today." So that was just kind of a funny story of why I think she was like, "Okay, this is not a good thing. You should not be getting high during school," which obviously,
Yeah,
right?
obviously.
Like, so she set those boundaries and made me do a drug test. I failed, obviously, and from there, he was like, "You're not going to play the rest of the basketball season. It was playoff time." And again, my identity was in basketball. So she's like, "You're not going to play the rest." And that's how it was. Like, that's what she said. She's a little soft and loving and caring. And a couple days later, she's like, "All right, we'll let you play, but like, we're going to keep an eye on you. Like, you're grounded basically." And she would test me for the next couple months to make sure I was basically staying sober. Or that was her plan. Again, she's soft a little bit, and she ended up not doing that every time. But anyway, yeah, they were just very supportive and very loving. And I mean, they still do it to this day. I'm 25 years old, but my parents are still always looking out for me and caring for me. And when they see me going down the wrong path, they can see it. I live with my parents again. I moved back in with them after the lease, hoping to move out here soon, get my own place. Very excited for that. But anyway, they can tell. I think all of our parents, if they're in our lives and they care for us, and we are in a growing up in a believer's house, they can see those things and they have the spirit with them. They are praying for us all the time. Like I know, like I feel when prayers are answered from my parents. I'm like, "Do you pray about this?" Like something just changed. Like I don't want to do this anymore. It's like, yeah, I've been praying hard, you know. So it's just cool just seeing people that care and love you and want that for you, and that's why I try to share that and do that to others. Half of my testimonies me saying how my parents have helped me or how these people have helped me and been there for me, you know. So
It is worth mentioning. I don't know if I did on air. His dad is the same age as you. His mom's the same age as. So if we had kids 25 years ago, this would be our
Yeah.
our son possibly.
Yeah, I'm used to it now after being in the restaurants because I've around so many 20, 22, 23 years old, 3-year-olds, and it's like I'm the same age as most of their parents. It was weird at 1st. Like, wait a minute, what? But now I'm used to it. So
I was telling him on the way here, I'm like I forget I'm 45, and so we're hanging out. I think I'm his age. Still, like in my head, I'm like, I'm still probably 25 years old.
I think people always stay young in their own head.
Right. Then I look in the mirror and I'm like, whoa.
I don't look 25. All good.
did I answer like?
Yeah, no, you completely, you answered that exactly. That was what I was going to bring up. The funny part, you answered it exactly how I knew you were going to answer it.
That's cool.
Because yeah, no, and it's and this is a lesson for you as you get older and eventually have kids and stuff. Is I think a lot of people make the mistakes of, you know, when you're raising your child in a Christian household, so many people make the mistake of just pushing it down their throats, and, you know, trying to like force it on them, especially when they start stepping out of line and stepping out into the world and trying to learn lessons for themselves. And then they like demand it and ground them, and you have to only go to church, whatever. And that ends up pushing people away from the church and for the long term. But so many kids step out and try to experience the world and figure it out for themselves. But the ones who come back, it's because their parents supported them with only love. And that's what being a Christian is. And so when you see people come back to the church after stepping out and learning their lessons in the world, it's because they were always supported with love. Yeah. And so that's clearly what your parents did. You saw the example set absolutely correct. And so I'm sure you'll respond by doing that the same with your children.
Yeah, absolutely. Something I want to add a really cool story based off of that. Like, I am very grateful for my parents, but it's me like watching them as kids. We and this is why I love working with kids, because they watch, they remember, they see everything, and they say it as it is. That's also why I love it.
Yeah.
They're hilarious, but they will call you out and they will hold you accountable. So I think I saw my parents, correcting me or helping me. And yeah, in the moment, of course I'm mad. Of course, mom, I don't want to get off Xbox. I want to play video games right now. They set limits. They did these things. I'm very grateful for that. I used to look at my friends and be like, well, so-and-so's friend doesn't make them go to bed at 10 a.m. You don't have to put their phone up at 8 a.m. in the kit, or 8 p.m. Sorry, p.m. I don't know times.
But go a bit early, huh? 8 a.m.?
Yeah, wow.
Nah, no. You can't even have your phone all day. No, just like, I hated those things. I was so mad and frustrated at my parents. And now, like, looking back, I'm 25. Thankfully, it didn't take me more years to realize that. But, like, thank you, parents. Like, I needed that. I want the same for my kids. And yeah, we could be labeled as a strict or Christian parent or whatever, those stereotypes that do come with it at times. But at the end of the day, I'm much better off, and I'm much grateful for that, because that's how they raised me. They stay true to themselves and their beliefs. So
it's actually like the first thing I actually wanted to get in topic with you about is the technology that's changed since the year 2000 when we were born. Because we've seen when we had like landlines when we were growing up.
Yeah.
And you had answering machines, you had VHS cassettes, we had
Those were movies.
yeah.
DVDs eventually, and you saw some of this stuff. And I think what's been crazy to me to watch is we are seeing a generation of kids that have been on screens way too much. I think COVID really amplified that. And I see it as adults having issues too. It's not just kids.
Yeah.
What is your perspective on your generation of kids, meaning the people who are 25 or younger? What is something you would tell parents about screens that they don't know?
That's a good, deep question. I don't know. Screen time is I think it's a tool of the enemy, especially social media specifically. With anything, as I mentioned earlier, God can use the bad for good. Like it is how we interact with them ourselves. So from a parent standpoint, I think the boundaries and limits that we kind of just talked about are very important. I think they do need to be set. That's another thing. I see it with all the kids, like the attention span, they're tired instantly. Like, when I'm coaching and working with these kids, like I can tell they are getting way too much screen time just by the way they're acting and operating, like throughout each week. You know what I mean? And it's sad to see, because screens are really taking over. Like, I say this myself. Sometimes I'm on my screen 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I'm in front of my work laptop. I have my TV. I have my video game running from my phone. There's so many distractions, and it's so accessible for everyone. And it's not a good thing, in my opinion, but it doesn't have to be that. We don't have to be bonded to excessive screen time. We don't have to check social media or check this game every hour, every 2 hours. I think if we can set boundaries ourselves, it's very difficult to do. There's limits you can put on your phone, on your iPad, stuff like that, right? If you have parents that care for you, I think if they can. Yeah.
Was the term "go touch grass"?
Yeah.
I know that's a person like a younger generation talks about, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like check out of what you're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah, get out in nature.
Right.
Yeah.
But it is so true though. The minute if I'm feeling whatever, if I go take my dog for a walk and I come back, my mind only took that 15 minutes to shift.
Absolutely.
Complete reset, yeah.
Social media and you're not on social media, right?
No.
Okay. I also got off social media. I mentioned MySpace.
Yeah.
And I got on Facebook for a minute. And then quickly after that, I through friends that I had that were smarter than me, basically they're like, get off all of it.
Okay.
It's going to track everything you do. How does that affect people who are younger if their parents allow them to be on social media? Because I can't imagine going to school and having something I did during the day brought up socially, or anything I did on the weekend being videotaped, photographed, remembered for all time, and not being able to outrun that memory of a bad night.
100%.
How does that? Have you seen that affect kids? And is it?
Well, they don't get videotaped, Steve.
Recorded.
Just kidding.
I carry a camcorder with me.
Oh, okay.
You know what a camcorder is, right?
Kind of. It's just a
Video player.
Okay. No, that's a good question. I mean, you have a spotlight on your life. Some people put it on themselves with Instagram, social media, and they want to portray their best image. But yeah, you can have other people recording you, and it's just you got to be more mindful. Got to be smart. I don't know, man. I think it's the way we interact with it. Again, we don't have to have this excessive screen time. Back to your first question really quickly. Like, I think if we can set those boundaries and go touch grass, like you said, go get some 15-minute walk, go for a drive, whatever it is. Like, you have to have that time. Me as a mobile PE coach, I'm gonna keep talking about this. Like, the kids have to move. I see the difference when I pull the kids out of their classroom, they're all groggy and tired and don't want to be here. And then we have a 30-45 minute class, and going after that, like, they run around for circles for the first 10 minutes. They have to. I just let them. Like, usually I like to stretch right away to start a class, but I can't because they have so much energy and they've been either on their phone all night the night before, or just their sleep schedules. That's a whole nother thing with screen time, is messed up because of technology and stuff. So it's like, we need to move. We need to set the screen down and just have, I'd say, 2-3 times of the day where you do go get 10 minutes of movement, go get fresh air for 5 minutes, take some deep breaths. Sorry, I wanted to finish answering the last question a little bit. But yeah, as far as social media and just a spotlight on our lives, it's a dangerous thing. You have to be very mindful and very smart of what you're doing. We see it time and time again of like athletes, or especially like college athletes, like they make a small dumb decision and it completely affects their career.
Oh yeah.
Because it is on social media and people do see it or read about it or hear about it. So yeah, I mean, everything is magnified. Everyone knows everything that's going on, especially if you are a celebrity or have a higher status like that, right? Political or public status, where you have to be very mindful. And I can't imagine what it's like to always be in light,
Yeah.
right? Where people are always, what is so and so doing? What is this professional athlete doing? Like, that changes the way people think and act. And yeah, it's difficult. I genuinely believe, I started with this, social media specifically is a tool of the enemy. And with that, we can still be a light in that space. We can still help others. So you guys, what are we doing right now? This is awesome. Like, on YouTube, on Spotify. I stream a little bit in my own free time. I think we'll get to that in a bit, but I try to, listen to worship music when I'm doing that. Or the title is like, point people to Jesus by loving them like Jesus. That's our church's motto. Like, we don't have to be of the world, and we don't have to. Yeah. That wasn't even planned. I love that. And we also, like, I know you guys have talked about like algorithm and stuff before. Like, what we are actively seeking out ourselves, of course, that's gonna be on our phone. When I've gone through low seasons on Instagram specifically, I'm really good at like not being on social media now. I don't have TikTok. I don't have like X. None of those things. I'm on Instagram rarely. I deleted Snapchat. Like, I'm trying to get off of those things because I do see that they are bad. They are negative influences, and they did take a lot of my time up. So I think, first of all, to kind of answer the question, realizing that it is a problem and you are spending too much time, that's the first thing, is realizing it.
Yeah.
And then actually like take steps, or like, okay, maybe I should limit my screen time on Instagram to 1 hour. And you can go change that in settings, I think. Yeah.
How as a parent though, these things, I think you're seeing, and we were explaining that it's addictive.
Oh yeah.
And it's so easy to get wrapped up into it.
Mhm.
How would you suggest, besides doing your mom did, like, she's kind of loving, she took basketball away from you for 3 days,
Yeah.
but she did probably do something for a little bit.
Mhm.
What is it, just as much as being like, just being firm with your kids and saying, no, you're not participating with this?
No, I think being firm is super important. I mean, at the end of the day, kids don't realize this. It probably takes them until they've moved out and matured to realize, like, hey, my mom, my dad did have my best interest for me. But yeah, you have to be firm and just know, like, as a parent, hey, I'm a little bit more wiser than you. I don't think 8 hours of screen time every single day is going to be good. So yeah, being stern and taking the device away. Like, actually, I encourage even parents I talk to about, I get to talk to a few parents, after classes and stuff, and sometimes it gets into live conversations. I've gotten pretty close with some of these parents and like directors and stuff. Like, what? Why is my kid acting this way? Why? Like, how does he act in your class? Is he good? I'm like, yeah, he's great. He's engaged. He's a good listener. He needs that movement, and he's. I have a very specific example. This was probably about a month ago. My mom basically just telling me, like, my son is on the iPad. And it's like, once he gets home from school, like, that's it. And this is like a 6-year-old, I think 7-year-old.
Mhm.
And it's sad because if you don't, as a parent, don't take action, of course they're going to stay in that. Of course they want to be on their iPad playing games. So yeah, you need to be firm, in my opinion, and take the device at 7 p.m., 8 p.m. and just create those.
From the parent's perspective, just, this might help when you are talking to parents in the future. So last year I noticed I had allowed my kids to start being on the screen too much.
Okay.
And I was seeing a change in their behavior. Like you said, they're just kind of tired, kind of whatever. And so, but I thought about it and I'm like, that's not their fault. That's my fault for allowing this to happen. So I needed to come up with a plan to reverse that.
Yeah.
And I couldn't just, you know what, we're done, blah, 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 because then they're going to resent me, right? Because I'm the one who allowed it again.
100%.
And so I created a challenge. I said, if we can do no screens, I'll let you watch one show at the end of the day.
Mhm.
one show at the end of the day is what we're going to do for an entire month. If we can get through the whole month, no screens, you guys win $100.
Oh, wow.
And they accepted it right away. They're like, absolutely, yeah. And so we did it. And it changed their behavior so much. Like, they started becoming more creative. They were coming up with games instead of like when they're on the screens all the time. And if they're not on it, they'll be like, I'm bored. And they can't think.
Yeah.
They literally, because their mind's so used to racing from being on the screen, overstimulated. And so over the course of the month, I got to watch them become so much more interactive, so much more creative. It was amazing. And they finished. And at that point, they had forgotten what the old rules were. And so now I was able to implement new rules from that point where, you were allowed video game time twice a week.
Right.
So on Wednesdays and Sundays, they get a little bit of video game time, screens only on with my permission, like to watch a show or anything like that. And so I can pick and choose. And so we just adapted new rules and completely flipped it on them. And to me, spending $100 was well worth it.
I should ask Josh that question. That was an awesome. Like, that's cool. Challenge your kids, and I like that.
You mentioned The Alchemist earlier. I think we could start a book club as well, because I wanted to recommend a book to all parents. It's called The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt. He details what screens are doing to our kids' brains. And one of the things as I was reading the book that stood out most to me is in 2024, or whenever, I think it was 2024, female teenager suicides had finally outpaced boy suicides, and it's directly related to their self-image
Social media.
from social media, and them finding value in themselves. That being said, I can't imagine what it's like today right now. And you're in the thick of it, right? When we used to go to find girls to meet, we'd go to bars, we would go to parties, we'd barbecue. But when we did these things, all it was about was, because we didn't have phones as much, we'd all sit down and talk all the time. Like this, just all, that's what
people told stories. They talked.
Hang out, well, we didn't really see the TV. We wanted to know what each other had done that week. And that was entertainment. And how's that for you now? With like, how's it dating? I know you shared some stories with me. I don't want to speak for you, but it sounds difficult.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Again, I'm a little shy, and I'm not the type that goes up to girls. I'm not, I guess confident in that sense, where I'd rather girls come up to me and we'll start talking. I know that's rare. But yeah, it's difficult because you really do almost have to turn to social media or dating apps, for example. I've done those in the past. I don't recommend them. But it is very difficult because where are you going to find a girlfriend? Everyone is on their phones. Everyone is staying in. So I think, tying back the last couple questions you've asked too, like just getting out in community and just talking to people. So something that has helped me a lot, and I talked about a little bit earlier, is biblical Christian community, like going to a young adults. A lot of churches have, different age ranges. They have a day out of the week where, okay, this is for kids, this is for teenagers, this is for young adult age, where you can just go in community and talk to people. So that's where I'm looking and hoping and searching to eventually find my future life, is just in the church, whether it's serving or one of these young adults events or something. So I think that's the best advice I could give to myself and others around my age, is to go get plugged in and connected with your church. And I think you will find genuine, good relationships, whether it's a friendship or an actual relationship like a wife or husband, right? So that's why I would recommend it, because if not, where are you going to find it? That's why this is a good question, because it's very difficult. You can try and find out on social media. People put up only what they want you to see of them. They're not real and genuine. You could talk to someone, text someone for a couple weeks and like, hey, let's go get a coffee. I've actually done this a couple times recently. I finally had the bravery and courage to get coffee with two girls about a month ago, two separate girls at
the same time.
Each other like each other.
This story's getting real weird. Okay, Kobe, I don't know.
I gotta say, they were like a couple weeks apart. Okay, so anyway, I finally had the courage. We had texted, Snapchatted, whatever, for a good month, and we meet, and it's like weird. It's different. People don't know how to communicate and talk to people. I even felt a little like uncomfortable at times. It's like, because I was texting who I thought you were, and then I finally see you and meet you, and it's like, you're not who you are. So yeah, it's very difficult. Like, I wouldn't recommend dating or dating apps or social media, anything like that, because you don't find genuine people there, I don't think.
Would you say most people your age are on the dating apps? Is that how everyone's meeting?
No, I think so. I think that's more than not, I would say. I don't know, the percent in analytics, but I would definitely say so, yeah.
What are the percentage would you guess?
Are
are, because there's sites for meeting, like dating,
Right.
and then there's straight just hookup sites.
Yeah, 100%.
What percentage do you think that it's just hookups, and how much do you think it is meeting? And what's the desire from young men? Is it the hookup, or is it like young men actually right now your age they want a relationship?
Yeah. Good question. I feel like my age specifically right now, I'm in a time where I think, just from my own experiences, my friends and stuff, I think up until about this age, it has only been hookups, and Tinder, for example, is like a specific one where it's like that's what people are searching for and wanting. That's why they go out to the bars. I personally like don't go out. I'll go out every once in a while, and have some drinks and stuff. But that's like people are going every weekend. They're living for the weekend, especially my age, and that's when they're gonna meet girls. That's when they're gonna get a phone number and they're gonna text, and it doesn't go anywhere, and it's the same cycle, and they stay stuck in that until I think honestly around my age, and I see it because a couple of my friends are getting engaged, married, one just had a baby, like. I think it's around this 25 age range where I'm at right now where, like me, I'm ready. I want a wife. I don't care about any of that stuff. Like, I'm looking for a wife. So I think it is around this age where we're finally like, all right, let's mature, let's grow up. Everyone's different, obviously. We all have different...
So ladies, if you're single, leave it in the comments. All right? Just say hi to him. We're going to delete his YouTube page here in a little bit. Go say hi to him on there and follow what he's doing. Sorry, go ahead.
that. That's crazy. If I found my wife through this, I'm forever grateful.
Could you imagine?
Full circle, right? I mean, that's how it works, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Meeting
Yeah,
online.
I keep telling him he's a catch.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, if my daughter was 25, I'd be like, you're in Dick Kobe.
Yeah. Initiative, drive, Christian.
Right? Checks all the boxes.
That's funny. No, I appreciate that. But yeah, I think that's why if you are looking for those things in genuine relationship, go find it in the church, because you're not going to find it at the bars. You're not going to... That's funny. Let me tell you guys a quick story. The last time I went out to the bar... Second last time I went out about a month ago. When I turned 25 in June, my best friend that I've known literally since we were babies, we've grown up and known each other for 25 years, similar to your guys' length relationship. He came down for my birthday in June, and we went out and we went to Whiskey Row in Gilbert and had a good time, had some drinks. I sat and talked to a girl at the bar for probably 2 hours about our faith. It was like the coolest thing ever. Like we just talked about Jesus and our testimonies, and I was like, I left there, I was like, I never thought that was gonna happen. I thought she was my wife, dude. Like I texted her the next day, I was like, you wanna go get coffee, blah blah blah. And it's like we texted for 2 days and then nothing happened. So that's
After talking for 2 hours at the bar?
About like life. Like
That's
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah.
She didn't respond?
No, and that's
Maybe she lost your number. And she's going to see this.
oh my goodness. But that's why it is so difficult too, I think, to date at our age is a lot of people are scared to show who we are.
Yeah.
A lot of people are scared to be genuine and scared to be authentic. I'm going to go on a really quick tangent because this is something I'm very passionate about. I think if the world, us individually, just operated as ourselves, genuine, authentic, like we would be so much better off. Like how many people are just operating like it's a facade? They're acting everything.
Surface.
Like how many, especially in certain career paths, I'm not going to name any, but like you're trying to grow, you're trying to move up, you're trying to get that promotion. Are you being yourself while doing it, or are you faking or doing what you think your boss wants you to do, or you think your spouse wants you? Like, I think if we all step back and be like, who am I? Just be genuine, be authentic, and operate out of that, I think we will have long-lasting relationships. But the problem is people are searching for that via screens or via social media, at bars. Like, don't live up this world. If you're searching for something genuine, go find it in a church. Go find it. Yeah.
I think that's directly related to social media.
Mm-hmm.
It's everyone is putting on this fake, just surface level garbage just for likes, right? If that, I try not to ever say this word, or I have begun to try not to say it. I used to say it a lot, but the word hate.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's one thing I hate, it is social media.
Yeah.
I believe it has destroyed our society. Destroyed it. Destroyed the confidence of young women, like you said. Mm-hmm. Destroyed just parents because they're so addicted to being on it that they're not paying attention to their children. Yeah. It's destroyed dating. It's destroyed, it's turned people into narcissists. It's the worst thing in society, in my opinion. That is why I stay off of it.
I agree. I think it makes everything a competition too. You're comparing. Yeah. It's covetousness. I think I always pronounced that wrong. To covet.
To covet, yeah.
Basically we're not supposed to do that, right? But that's what social media is. We're constantly comparing. We're like, well, this person has this person has this. Oh, I need to act this way because this influencer told me this, It's difficult, yeah. You gotta... Just
the name influencer.
Yeah.
Why would you want to listen to someone that's paid to influence you?
Right.
It's just that alone, like looking at that, I'm like, why does anyone go along with this?
Yeah. Right.
they're not telling me anything good about anything. They're just telling me what they're getting paid to influence me. Why would I want to follow that?
So with that, the terms of influencer, obviously an influencer could bring you to Christianity.
Right.
In your perspective, I'm sure you're not hanging out with people who aren't Christians too often anymore. But when you do get around different algorithms of people or influencers, there is seems to be a big, strong people going towards like the book you talked about, having a different thing than God in your life. Like, not saying The Alchemist was that,
Right.
but there's like The Secret we've talked about on a recent podcast. There's the alternate religions, the New Age.
Just the New Age stuff.
Yeah, basically I'm getting into that. New Age.
Right.
Have you seen a lot of that with people you know?
Yeah, this is another difficult, touchy subject with the revival that I kind of refer to, and we all know and see, and it's amazing. I think some people are doing it to feel good or to relate to others or to connect with people. Like, some people have ulterior motives to being a Christian, right? So yeah, I think that's an issue because I even get convicted at times personally with some of the like hip hop or rap songs that I listen to that are Christian, right? They're Christian artists, but sometimes I'm like, is this like prosperity rap?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is this like just wanting people to feel good? Like, you go to a concert and it's all, yeah, slap Jesus' name on it, but are you like really, you know what I mean?
There's a lot of that mixed in. There is
Yeah.
a lot of that mixed into stuff.
Yeah, and it is fine line, and that's why like I personally don't watch a whole lot of like YouTube or anything like that. Social media I try to stay off as much as possible, but I think if you have the Spirit within you and you are living each day intentionally, I think your discernment should be there where you're like, okay, I think this person has ulterior motives. That's why I think we should all be careful of who we do watch and who we listen to. Like, yeah, they could be, Christian based, but are they really sharing like good Christian values and morals and stuff with what they're saying? You almost have to fact check them yourself, open up the Bible and fact check them, So yeah, it is dangerous because I think people can pose and act. That's what we just kind of talked about a little bit earlier. Like, with social media, they can portray this image like, I'm this great Christian person, but are you really living that out each day? Are you being intentional? Are you doing it for the right reasons? What's your heart posture?
Yeah.
Did that answer the question? I don't know.
Kind of,
Absolutely.
yeah, it did kind of. I'm more interested to see if you're seeing the New Age religion. Basically, it's like people who just believe in a spiritual God, but it's not like our God in the Bible.
Oh, you mean just in his age range, not necessarily the Christians he's hanging out with?
You're telling me there's revival happening. I totally believe it. I see it at our church.
Yeah.
But there is probably kids between a little bit older than you and in between that are in the New Age stuff.
Okay.
For me, New Age wasn't a thing I ever went into. But like I shared with you, The Secret. Do you know what that is?
Mm-mm.
So it's a book and they made a movie out of it where basically it's called The Law of Attraction.
Okay, no, you guys, yes, okay, I
So
want
you
to
talk about that?
Okay, yeah.
But I was introduced to it by a teacher.
Yeah.
And it was at a time where I wasn't really praying a lot. I had God in my life, but I wasn't really focused on God at the moment. I was about getting through college, trying to find a wife, all these different things. But I started like manifesting for myself what I wanted. And it was working. And I'd probably watch the video every day, sometimes 2 times a day. I'd have it in the background.
Yeah.
And eventually one day I had this epiphany where they're talking about the law of attraction, and it's like they just replaced God.
Yeah.
And it kind of broke me for a minute, where not in a negative sense, it was more like, well, what else is doing that in my life? And I had this eye-opening moment where like, where in life are people trying to substitute God? And it's false idols, where we talk about social media.
Right.
And I look at like the people who are influencing kids, and it's like, for me, watching my kids, it's like 25-year-olds trying to act like they're 13. And my kids eat it up. And they're playing the kids' video games like Roblox, which I understand still people 25 years old playing Minecraft and Roblox still. And I'm like, what's going on here? Like, because I put down toys, and I even stopped playing video games for a long time because I'm like, that's for kids.
Right.
I still play video games sometimes here and there. They're fun. But I don't play them often, and I also know that I wouldn't be playing a game I played when I was 12.
Right.
I do find that we're seeing kids being kind of stuck in this teenage age of like not growing older.
I agree. So I didn't misunderstand or misinterpret your question a little bit. So yeah, I think, and this is me being open and vulnerable right now, I think that's almost how I got into the faith, because I was like thinking spiritually, but again with The Alchemist, right? Like, I eventually did interpret that as a Christian book and looked at it in a Christian perspective. But I think early on I just knew there was something more for my life, and I was seeking self-growth. Like, that's what I want, right? I wanted to continue getting better in every aspect of my life. So I think that was an idol for a little bit. Myself was an idol. My growth each day was an idol. Like, that is kind of new age. So yeah, I think people, especially as they are new and introduced to Christianity and with it kind of blowing up and getting into it, I think people need to be very careful that they're getting it out of the word, like they're from God learning what Christianity is. Because yeah, there are the enemies at work. Like he's going to twist the Alchemist into a new age religious book, right? Like the enemy will use any and everything, especially social media. So yeah, I definitely see that. I think a lot of my, I'd say age range are definitely maybe coming up just a bit short. Like they have the right idea, the right intentions. Like, yeah, I think there is a God, but is it Jesus Christ? Is it God, the Holy Spirit, three in one?
I've personally heard, like through my restaurants, a lot of people your age, but I've heard a lot of people our age too. Basically, well, and I know there's something out there. I wouldn't necessarily say God, but you know, the universe, and but I think that is pretty much all age ranges anymore. So many people have been fed this new age BS.
Yeah.
There's no other way to put it, and eat it up because it's easy. There's no accountability in the new age stuff. It's all about your own personal satisfaction and controlling it yourself.
There's no power if you don't use the name of Jesus in it.
Yeah.
And so you can say God, and it could be a lowercase g God, and people will be like, "We're good."
Oh,
Yeah.
But the minute you mention the name Jesus, it's like nails on chalkboard to people.
Yeah.
And I've seen it so much recently. Like when we post YouTube videos of shorts, if it says Jesus in it, we'll get 10 likes, but we'll get 5 dislikes.
Yeah.
Just the minute people see it, dislike.
And that's when you know you're dealing with the demonic.
Oh, 100%. It's active. Like the people, just, if you have discernment, like you have increased discernment, you pray for that. Like, again, the minute you bring up Jesus Christ, like, yeah, oh, I listen to God. There's like non-denominational churches and stuff that people go to. And it's like, that's prosperity gospel. That's like, there's levels to it. There's levels to the faith. It's not a competition, but you need to, like, if you are genuinely seeking the creator of the universe that is Jesus Christ, and they need to open the Bible and like be in churches that preach out of the Bible, in my opinion, because yeah, there are so many false prophets and so many false churches, and it's easy to do that on social media. Like, I got this sign from God, and like, what God? Did Jesus tell you this, or your fake made up lowercase g God? Like you said. So yeah, I think that's a big problem, especially with social media, because people are drawn to feel good content, and they want to, yeah, I'm gonna get better, I'm gonna make more money, and I just gotta follow God. What God? You know what I mean?
Did you find that as you got closer to God and Jesus through your faith, the people in your life that weren't doing it, did they kind of fall by the wayside?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I don't know, this is difficult for me to talk about. I try not to, again, make things like a competition and stuff, but I genuinely have grown and changed a lot, like my thinking, and even peers, cousins, friends have been like, what's up with you? You know what I mean? Like, it is God, it is the Holy Spirit. Like, he is real, he is working, and I just don't want the same things I wanted in the past. I don't talk the same way. I don't cuss anymore. Right? It'll slip up here and there very rarely, but I try not to do those things. And it's like, just people seeing that change, like, that makes them curious, and that makes them like, okay, maybe we should turn into this. Because yeah, they're not. They're family. They don't have a successful job. They're living check to check. They're not happy. They're not, you know, especially I see a lot of my close friends like that have gone through college and I didn't. Like, they're lost. They don't know what to do. Their degree like didn't help them, and they're like empty. Like, what's going on? What should I do right now? One of my good buddies, I basically just kind of encouraged him. Him and his wife just had a baby. I love him. He's been one of my best friends forever. Like, they kind of asked me. He brought it up. He's like, "Hey, what's your thought? Like, how can I find a church? Where should I find a church?" And like, just those little things are so cool to me. Like, he is coming to me because he's kind of finally to that point of like, there is something more for us. You know what I mean? Like, we want to raise this baby in Christianity. Like, we want to get to that point. And I'm praying for them and hoping that, you know, continues to work out. But I do see the friends that maybe aren't open to it, or they're kind of like mocking it a little bit, and just jokingly, we're all close. Like you mentioned it earlier, like I probably hang out with a lot more like Christian community friends, and I do, and I have made a lot of those friends, but I'm not going to just throw my old friends to the side, especially a lot of my friends in Colorado. So I just try to be a light, try to plant little seeds here and there if I can. But I think there's a big difference in our lifestyle and the way we are living, and it's because one of us, myself in this scenario, believes in Jesus Christ and he is living and helping them. I pray, I have those things. I have his support, like he is leading me, and some of them just don't yet, unfortunately. And I think it shows just in the way they're living, their circumstances. Does that make sense? I hope that
Yeah, no, it does. Have you noticed, I know personally for me, this is the case, but when you go to hang out with those people, the non-believers, do you notice that as more and more time goes on, you have less in common and less to actually talk about with them?
Yeah, I think so. I think it is difficult. It is a fine line, and this is why you need to have boundaries because sometimes I succumb to them, and sometimes they are an influence on me, and I'm like, okay, I will drink with you, and then I don't make the best decisions with them. So I'm not always a lad. I'm not this great, perfect Christian example. You know what I mean? So sometimes I do fall into their temptations, and it's just like old times. We're talking about gambling, for example, is one of the big ones that I've overcome and tried to. That's kind of been a vice for me, if you will. I've tried to overcome and work past, but it's like we're hanging out, we're talking about football, like we're making bets and stuff on football games, and that's how we have always kind of connected and related. So it is difficult because I think that's where a boundary is very important because yeah, I want to be alive and explain these things and show them how I have changed and kind of overcome a few of these things that I was addicted to, if you will. But yeah, sometimes they'll pull me back down with them, and sometimes I pull them up with me. So it's difficult.
Yeah, that's what I personally, that's what I've noticed is, um, since I started this walk is when I go to hang out with my old friends, and I still love them, we still do anything for them, but it's hard because every conversation revolves around worldly things, whether it be about drinking, whether it be about, who bought one house or what house is being built, what job, how much money is somebody making, who got this, who got that. And every single conversation is just worldly, where I find myself just sitting there like, I have zero interest in what's going on right now. I'm not interested in anything that's being talked about. I don't know what to do.
Completely agree. I felt that you check out because
Yeah.
you don't care as much about those things anymore, and you want them to not anymore either. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it is kind of sad. It is. But yeah, I agree. We are disconnected in a sense now because of that, for sure.
Have you heard the term "keeping up with the Joneses"?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
you
don't know what it
means.
means.
So keep it. Jones is your neighbor or your friend.
Yeah, okay.
So keeping up with them meanings like if like
They got the Lexus, you need to get the Mercedes to
okay.
beat them,
or equal to
keep up. Yeah.
And like society, I feel like that's one thing I've seen with the generations that are younger. It's almost like they decided not to play the game. Would you say that's accurate? Like, yeah, because I've seen a lot of like rebranding of clothes. Like it became so fashionable to start buying. Like if I had held on to some of my old clothes that I had, they were worth a lot of money at one point. I don't know if it's still in that thing anymore, but I remember seeing like, it's a shirt I have online. Why give it to Goodwill?
Yeah, but they paid $140 for it. They're doing the same thing. It's just
100%.
Fashion is cyclical.
It is.
Fashion is always brought back 25 years later.
It is, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I've seen his generation also spend $2,000 on a Gucci belt.
Yeah. I thought you said they don't do it.
They don't buy. They buy old stuff because they want to feel good about themselves. Like they don't need to make new clothing. I want to wear something that was already.
But it's still keeping up with the Joneses. It's just the same game, different way of playing it.
It is, but I do think this generation thinks differently than us. That's why we're having here to talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. But
so to talk this through, do you think it's recycled products of us being sold something like influencers saying don't go buy new clothes, buy old stuff, it's still good? I don't even know where that trend would have come from besides an influencer.
No, I think definitely influencers have the biggest say. I mean, if you have more of a following, more likes and stuff, people are going to follow you. They're going to believe in what you're saying.
But to give an example, okay, I'm a Cardinals fan, I'm a Suns fan, and it was like almost tacky to wear last year's shirt that came out that year for the new season. I needed almost a new shirt to show I was with the new Nike brand and whatever it was to show I'm actually a fan.
Yeah.
Now, it was never told to me that I had to be this way, but in my head, I couldn't be wearing last year's stuff for the new year.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is like there's something shifted. And like when you have algorithms of people influencing you, whether you know it or not, you're watching things, you're catching on, and the person that you want to be more like on a screen is influencing you one way or another.
Okay.
Absolutely. That's what I meant. They're still playing the same game. Like if you're told that, it's not cool to buy the new thing, but you got to get the old one, but they spend $2,000 on an old belt, it's still for the status of saying you have the best old belt.
Okay.
So it's just a different keeping up. It's a different
game within the game?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I think to answer it, like, I'm going to get a little deeper. I think it's honestly how you think, how you perceive things. Like, if you are wanting the next best thing, like, you're living up the world, you're living competitively. I think a lot more people actually, especially with this revival going on, are turning, and it's more of a positive thing where they're like, they are finding out who they are. They are being genuine, because there are people like Forrest Frank, for example, who come out and are very open and honest and vulnerable, and people are like, why can't I just be myself? So I think it's actually kind of turning where people are more open and welcoming to being themselves on social media. So like I said, there can be good from it. Like
Mhm.
God can use good. So like people that come out and are very open and honest and like, hey, like I don't need the next best thing. Again, I gave Forrest Frank. That was a good recent example, in my opinion, of like he is himself, and people see that and they appreciate that and they connect and they relate more. I think being relatable and just being honest and open about difficulties, like people are gonna grasp that and want that for themselves and be like, oh, that's why he's living this way. So yeah, I think people are at my age, I think, in my opinion, are starting to get away from the, oh, we gotta have the next best thing, we gotta live competitively, like we get up to do those things. I think they're starting to kind of realize, maybe it's because I'm also at an age where we're kind of starting to get out of the dating scene, where we are getting married and having kids and growing up and maturing as a real adult. Like I said, I'm at that 25 range where that is kind of happening. I think people are starting to realize there's more important things than clothes, for example, than cars. Like they're, I don't know. It's a mindset thing, you know.
I think that's a Christian versus non-Christian thing on that.
True.
When I when I was when I was younger, I used to also work with kids. So when I was in grade school, I don't know how I got into this or started, but I would go work with the special needs students at lunchtime, and that was amazing. That was like super rewarding. And then when I was in college after the Marines, I got a job doing an after school program working with special needs students. But my whole point of saying any of that is you can take a lot, like parents can take a lot from an outside person about parenting, like kids, because you learn a lot from those positions working with children, whether that be in coaching or just whatever. You learn things that work with kids that are different than what a parent might try, because a parent has only known what they've done since being a parent. So don't feel like your opinion's ever like not valid giving it to a parent.
I agree. I appreciate that. I think my mom feels this way very much, where she can give me certain feedback. I hear it from someone else. I hear it from Steve, for example, or anyone else I've met through church. They say the exact same thing, but it's from them, and I receive it and I accept it and apply it. So yeah, getting that outside feedback or criticism, especially specifically about your kids, I think is very important, because your kids definitely act different when they're at home around you than when they do at school. Period. That they do. They're in different environments. They're around different people. So yeah, I encourage parents to ask, their teachers how they're doing, to ask like a coach, for example, how they're doing. I love getting to talk to parents after class and like, yeah, your kiddo was doing great today, or he kind of struggled. He seemed a little distracted. Is everything okay? Like just checking in. They like that. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Really quickly, while we're on this topic, this is something I encourage everyone, even you guys, with kids, not even necessarily younger. I want to say they're like 1 year to 12-year age range, I believe. It's called Kid Strong. It's one of the jobs I had a couple of years ago.
It's called what?
Kid Strong.
Kid
There's
Strong.
one in Gilbert. It's
Okay.
amazing. I encourage seriously every single parent ever to, it's in most states too, to at least look into it. It's basically a mental focused CrossFit for kids, almost, if you want to call it that. But each month they have different topics. So it might be math, it might be geography, it might be anything, mental, like confidence, public speaking, stuff like that. And I coach there, and the parents, there's a parent viewing area. They sit in front of this class, and then you're on, basically there's like a little jungle gym, but you have, blocks, you have medicine balls, all kinds of things like that. And the coaches coach off of a TV.
Okay.
It's like a 30-45 minute class, and it is amazing. Like
so they're doing CrossFit, but then getting asked like academic questions.
Yep. So it's a whole lesson plan. This is a huge corporate. Like Kid Shark is it's pretty well known.
Nationwide brand.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And I encourage seriously every parent to at least look into it. Try for a couple months. Their motto is, it's a youth accelerating program. So I'm not explaining it as well as their website will. Obviously, I worked there a couple of years ago, but it was amazing just being able to coach, and the parents are there watching. They're watching their kids, how they interact with other kids, how they interact with the coach, how they interact when they're doing challenging, difficult things. There's so much life skills that can be, and that's why I love sports too, because you can tie in so many life skills with sports. But seriously, I encourage everyone to.
I definitely will look into that. It sounds like something my son would love.
Yeah, seriously, I love it. And yeah, they get that movement, they get that exercise, and it's a competitive atmosphere. But it's a way for you as a parent to like correct how they acted in a certain situation. You know what I mean? Because you are there watching them. So it's kind of cool.
Kid Strong. I gotta remember that one.
Yeah, it's sweet.
It's cool.
Expensive, but it's cool.
Everything is. Everything's expensive now.
So, I was asking you before about we were talking about the belts and the Gucci stuff, and like I was talking about where basically I started seeing a trend with people who were your age when, and this was 10 years ago, so I was working with like 16-year-olds. So when you were 16-year-old, maybe I was getting to meet someone like your age, and I started just seeing despair. And it was this real like have you ever heard about crabs in a pot?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so crabs, usually you put crabs in a pot, you don't put a lid on it because they will grab each other's legs and pull each other down and you can't escape. So basically I saw a generation of crabs in a pot where it's like you couldn't be a bully, you could everyone sticks up for each other, everyone could be whoever they want to be very accepting, but you also saw news saying the world's ending because of global warming. Everything seems divided. Inflation's out of control. I'll never own a house. I probably couldn't afford to have a kid. What is something that you want parents to hear about that mindset, and how would you help encourage people to get out of it for your age group, and then maybe the parents that are struggling to see their kid that they're not doing so well as you are?
Right. I'd say you don't have to wait for circumstances to get better. I mean, you can take action right now. Jesus meets us where we are, right? Like, he's not going to wait until we fix ourselves or we're broken. Just go into church, start reading. I mean, reading the Bible seriously is the most like practical advice I could give to this scenario. Like, just putting your faith not in this world, not of like politics or social media or the world's going to like. Don't put your faith and belief in those things. Put your faith in Jesus. Like, at least try it out. Try going to a church. Try reading the Bible. Like, I think we surround ourselves and we get stuck in these cycles, crowds in the pub where there's so much negativity around. There's so much negativity on my phone. Of course, I'm going to be thinking negatively, right? So it's simple as waking up every morning before you put your feet on the floors, thanking God, or just being grateful for 5, 10 things, simple things. Why am I grateful? Thank you, God, for this day. You've given me breath. Show me what you want me to do today. Help me to be a light today. Like, that was a lot of little things packed into one really quickly. But yeah, I think if you just give it to God and put your belief in.
What about somebody who's more of a secular mindset?
Yeah,
they don't have Christ in life yet. What would you tell those parents if they're listening?
Read The Alchemist.
Yeah, so read The Alchemist, and hopefully you'll get to the Bible eventually.
There you go.
No, yeah, that's a good question. Again, if you're surrounded by negativity all the time, that's what you're reading, watching, looking, that's what you're going to think. Change your circumstances, go outside for a 15-minute walk in the morning, seriously. Clear your mind, take some deep breaths, listen to whatever kind of music you want to. Since it's secular, of course I'm going to recommend listening to worship music, but listen to whatever music, go on a walk, clear your mind. Like, I think people just stay stuck where they are and they're comfortable there and they like having something to complain about almost. I think a lot of the world is like this, believers and non-believers.
Misery loves company.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. Yeah.
To your point, I do know that like when I find people who have been like brokenhearted,
Right.
or they're going through something of that nature, that emotion is just as strong as being in love.
Oh yeah.
And it makes you feel alive. That's why I never really understood like people that cut themselves until it was explained to me that like they just feel so numb when they do that. They feel alive for a second and they feel the pain and it's like, oh, I want to feel that again. I feel something.
Right.
It's so sad and I don't understand it, but
This is a really good question. I think community, it doesn't have to be biblical Christian community, like forcing yourself to get uncomfortable. My parents were mainly the ones that forced me, but to go get that Safeway deli job I talked about earlier, I did not like that. That was not fun. That's not something I wanted to do. But just me interacting with a person, that got me out of my own head, that got me out of my own thoughts. And it actually really feels good to help people, even if you're handing them a piece of lunch meat. You know what I mean? Like, get out and challenge yourself, make yourself uncomfortable. You're going to stay stuck in comfort and despair and depression, anxiety if you don't do anything about it. It is difficult taking that first step. A lot of the time I've had people help me or I've had God intervene through people. So just look for opportunities and take them when they're there. Ideally don't wait a year or two to do that. You know what I mean?
I think the uncomfort is a great point. I think people do not step outside of their comfort zones. And when you don't step outside of your comfort zone, you don't grow. And I think a lot of that can actually be attributed back to the parents and the helicopter parenting that really took off around the time you were born. And that became a big part of parenting in our society. Parents doing everything for their kids, making sure he never bumps his head, making sure he never drops something, like making sure that nothing bad ever happens in their life. So of course kids aren't going to grow up. Of course they're going to get stuck in that child mindset because it's comfortable there. You're taken care of. You whatever. You don't have any problems in your life when your parents are doing everything for you. So I think that is a great point, and that your parents forced you to go get uncomfortable because people need that.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think that was the other part of why I stayed like bedridden, part of my testimony, and sick for a good year and a half. I didn't have to. Once I started, forcing myself to work out a little bit more or get this job, that's when things slowly started going away. Obviously, I had people in the support system around me to help me get out of that, but I stayed in that for way too long. I felt bad for myself for way too long. My best friend passed. I felt like, oh, I'm never gonna have a friend as close as him again. Like you can stay in those things, and it's easy to stay in those things. Yes, you should still feel emotions. I will say the reason I stayed stuck in that for so long is because I didn't allow myself to feel those emotions for so long. I stuffed them, packed them, packed them. I didn't talk about it. I didn't open up. So I think if you have gone through those things, I'm talking to myself right now too. Like, find a therapist. I've never gone to therapy. Me and my mom, seriously, we're talking about this last night, I think, 1 or 2 nights ago. Like, I want to find a Christian therapist just to go be open and talk to someone. And they're very neutral. You know what I mean? Like, a therapist is neutral. They don't know you. They don't have emotions attached to what you've gone through or things you're going through. So just talking to somebody, it doesn't have to be a licensed therapist. Talking like we're talking right now, talking to a relative, to a friend, but just be challenge yourself to be uncomfortable and like, hey, bro, I need to come talk to you right now. I need to talk to you about life stuff right now. Like, I'm not just gonna talk to you about football or drinking or gambling like we usually do. Like, can I be deep with you right quick? Like, if people started doing that more often, I think that encourages others to do the same, and they will see the growth. They will not stay stuck in their cycles or, oh, I can't stand my work. I can't stand my boss at all. This job, like my schedule, like people like to complain and stay stuck, especially in their job, right? So many people are unhappy with what they do.
Soul talk.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that because one of the biggest life changing things that happened recently was my sailing class during a storm.
Yeah.
And I remember that next day just feeling in despair about it, like, oh, what am I going to do kind of thing. And shortly after that, we did our Bible study, right? And there was like 4 guys on with us, I think, or 5, whatever it was. Every single person had a roofer to suggest to me that in that minute, I told them I'm sharing with it, I'm overwhelmed, and they're like, oh, I got a guy. All these solutions started coming just from talking
Seriously.
and sharing what you're going through, and you don't feel alone anymore because then everybody had a roof problem.
Yep.
Everyone had to deal with this. You don't feel alone.
And it's funny because earlier in this conversation, Steve mentioned when we were growing up, that's what people did. There was not this technology that kept us all divided. Technology, the disguise it's hidden under is it's supposed to bring us all closer. We can be communicating and connected at all times, but in reality, it makes everything surface. And so when Steve and I were growing up, that's all people did.
Yeah.
You met up and you hung out and you talked. And people didn't have the depression. They didn't have the mental problems because you already worked through all your problems just in daily life with the people you met up with. And so, yeah, your generation has really been missing that.
I agree.
So, some things are similar, though, I would say, from when you grew up. And one thing that you learned quickly about making friends back before we had cell phones is if you had a friend that you hang out with daily and they acted a certain way around you and treated you like a friend, but if you got out in social situations and their entire personality switched, you could see it. I'm sure it still happens today.
Oh yeah.
But you just see them switch, and you're like, you start feeling like they're not really my friend if they only act this way towards me when no one else is around. And I'm not saying it happened all the time, but we had definitely separation of like being at home and going out to school or out in society, and you had your comfort at home and your comfort out in society. And I think the one thing that if you're living your life online, like that's part of who you are. Like I see people that I was at a Cardinals game once, and this girl wasn't watching the game, but I watched her take probably 180 pictures of herself with different backgrounds in her seat. And I'm like, I literally spent half the game watching her because I'm like, how could she be that self-obsessed? And she posts them.
Yeah.
I'm watching her do it, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, how can this be? And I'll be like, I forgot to take a picture of me and my wife when we went somewhere. She's like, we need to take a picture. But I will say it comes full circle, though. As much as people struggle in your age group where you're like, I really want to find somebody.
Yeah.
You'll find as you get older, there's as many people struggling in their marriage. And it's all just kind of like you always have to work through God through all of it.
I agree. And I think a lot of people have very similar issues, but there's a deep rooted cause. So maybe it's a pride thing. Maybe it's an ego thing. Maybe it's a lust thing, right? Like we all have similar problems, right? Similar stories. They have the same similar root cause, I guess that makes sense. So the fact that you just talk about it, like me, for example, if I've struggled with weed in the past, I could be talking to someone that struggled with alcohol. It's still a similar sense, but how I overcame it or things I worked through that could give them little bits of encouragement. So seriously, just talking to people and saying that to you guys that grew up with that and are normal, that's normal for you guys. Like that's not at all normal for me and my generation. You know what I mean? Like it is hard for us to go out and do a coffee date. It took me a good year and a half of my last relationship to finally go on a coffee date. Like we talked about earlier, you know, I would rather it's easier, it's more simple, it's right here, accessible anytime. Just text a girl or Snapchat a girl for a little bit, you know. Even a friend, a homie, right? Do that with a homie to talk about football and things like that. But the connections are so much more real and genuine when you are in person, you're face to face, and you're talking to people. So something I wanted to mention too, for believers, like getting in an actual circle or like a crew, right? I just joined one of those recently, and that has actually helped me so much because you see all these different broken guys that are going through different things, but we all have very similar stories in a sense. You know what I mean? We are broken. We do need help. We give each other's encouragement. We lift each other up. Believers and non-believers can do that too. You can easily find a group of friends or find people that will just talk to you and you can have real genuine conversations. I think we need to stop faking the way we're feeling or hiding, covering up like, hey, how you doing? How's work? Good, good. That's all we always say, especially kids. Hey, how was school today? Good. Like it's harder to teach kids to, open up and discuss that. But why do we as adults still do that too? How you doing? Good. No, let's talk. Let's have a conversation, I don't know.
I think you're totally right. I think everything we've touched on, whether it be physical fitness, your walk with God, or life journeys, it's like when you get stuck in a rut, it's like sometimes people want to just be out of it, and that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You have to learn to just take the one step you can take in the day and stop comparing yourself to other people and be like, I took that one step today, and that has to be good enough for today, and let yourself be okay with it, and then take the next step the next day. Maybe you'll take 3 steps, whatever it is, but you've got to learn to give yourself a break because we've all been through things in our lives that like it seems like the world's ending, and then you wake up and it's just over time it gets better.
Right. Yeah, time heals, and I think I appreciate that you just said that because I've kind of gone through that recently where I am very hard on myself and I like to keep myself stuck, and I think it is the enemy just not wanting me to be a light. I think he does that for everyone, especially for believers. He tries to restrict us, right, and keep us stuck and isolated, really. So yeah, if you can take it one day at a time and just small wins, but also have community that will uplift you and will, like you, for example, Steve, I'm very grateful for you. Like you have been a mentor in a sense, right, where we've met and just gone coffee or whatever, and you do give me encouragement. You do have 20 years more life than I do, right? Same with my parents.
25 years more life.
Really? Okay.
25 more?
Don't
What are you, 50?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm 25.
Oh my bad.
Matthew again.
Jeez, you're older than I thought.
Lots happened overnight.
Yes.
We didn't have to talk about that time travel mission I made for this episode.
That's funny. But no, I really do believe you can get wisdom, encouragement from all in any ages. I think it is good to have a little bit older friends, a little bit younger friends, cousins, family. Like we all need someone. We all need support. So
yeah,
I feel like I've really hammered that point. So
you've done a good job of it, and I think it's admirable. We haven't touched on it yet, but you started a YouTube page around the same time we did. Can you give us your YouTube handle?
Yeah.
And where people can find you and why you're doing it?
Sure. So it is at Bronco Kobe 25. That's a name I've had since I was like 6, 7 when I started playing video games.
6, 7.
Hey, that's correct. I did not mean to do that.
I had to do it. My kids are going to watch this.
I'm 25. I don't even know what that means. You guys might know what that means.
I'll tell you when you go.
Okay, that's fine. But yeah, I'm a huge Broncos fan, so that was my gamer tag or name from Xbox, like Xbox 360, back in my days. It was the big thing. But yeah, that's always been my name, and that's just stuck. So that's my channel. It's the @ symbol, the actual name is Bronco Kobe 25. So it's COBY. A lot of people spell or pronounce my name wrong. But anyway, I've always been big into video games, and this is actually something that I struggled with in the past, if I'm being honest. I've gamed too much at times, especially like during high school and stuff. I should have been working out more. I should have been playing basketball more, practicing more, and this is something my dad really harped on me for years, and I'm very grateful for this. Tying back some of our questions earlier, like my dad was very adamant, like, hey, Kobe, what's your goals in life? What do you want to do? I'm young. I wanted to be a professional basketball player. I want to be a professional football, baseball player, whatever. My dad coached me all throughout the years. He's like, okay, I'm going to work you out. Like, if that's what you want, I'm going to help you. I'm going to push you, right? So at times I didn't receive that the right way. I wasn't grateful for that at times, and I almost turned away from him when he was just trying to be a great dad, right? He was trying to push me and challenge me. I'm like, Dad, I just want to play video games right now. So I have played video games for a long time. It's almost been a coping mechanism, I'll say at times too. different things I've gone through, different seasons of my life where it's just been a distraction. It's helped me out, and I don't think it's a negative thing, but it can be when it is excessive. Talking about the screen time earlier, right? Like there should be limits, and parents should definitely limit time playing. So sorry, I had to go on a little side rant there, but all that said, I love video games. I've played them for a long time, and I've put so much time and effort and energy into them. I'm like, I finally got to the point, how can I do this for good? How can I maybe advance the kingdom with this? I want to be a light in a place where there probably isn't a whole lot of Christianity going on. So I'll play video games like Call of Duty, for example, different shooters and things like that, where again, you're not really going to find Christianity discussions in those places. And I just try to stream and, maybe have some worship music on. The title, I mentioned this earlier, is Point People to Jesus by letting them like Jesus and just try to sprinkle a little light. So that's kind of my Twitch channel. It's the same name as my YouTube channel, but now back to YouTube specifically. I've played Clash of Clans since 2012. Again, that's another game that's been there for me through it all, different things. I've played different seasons. I'll take breaks here and there. It is a nerdy, weird mobile game, but I love it. I have a lot of fun playing it. And since I have played it for so long, humbly, I'm pretty good at the game and I know quite a bit about it. So it's pretty cool. I'm in a Christian clan. So the name of the clan is just Christians. There's like 50 of us dudes and it's cool. We actually sometimes do like prayer requests and just talk about life stuff going on. And it's actually really cool. Like it's a place you don't think you would find a sense of community.
Yeah.
It is all social. It is all online, right? I'm never going to meet these dudes. They're all
Never
around the world.
know.
Yeah, true.
Are you actually talking to them, or is it just like through chat? It's all chat. Okay.
Yeah, but so I basically started the channel to kind of help out my clanmates to learn different attacks and stuff. Nothing against you guys. It's a lot of 40 to 50-year-old guys in the clan that are not the best at the game. They've just
I would think they would be amazing.
they're just kind of been stuck in their ways or their armies for the longest time, right? So I'm trying to challenge them and encourage some growth, maybe even if it's just in a mobile.
Maybe they're busy raising their kids.
Oh, I'm sure. I guarantee they are. Yeah, they got grandkids, bro.
Okay, we go slow. Yeah, no.
It's funny. But I just like seeing growth in any form, any aspect. So in a video game is cool.
Yeah.
Real life coaching, whatever. So yeah, just started it really to help clanmates, and also, if I'm being completely honest, I started the channel because I wanted to. I've been struggling how to evangelize, how to spread the word to non-believers, especially like my friends and cousins who I really want to reach. And they're like, what's up with you, bro? You're different. Like, I want them to experience Christianity. I want them to have a chance to be curious and then maybe get that Bible and get in it and start reading it. You know what I mean? So I've tried to add just little like tidbits of knowledge, if you will, and encouragement of like, hey, download the Bible, start in the book of John, the gospel according to John, right? Just read it with an open mind and just planting little seeds like that as I play a mobile game. So yeah, I try to do like strategies and guides, but I really did want to reach my friends and cousins. And my best friend that I mentioned earlier that I've known since we were babies, a couple videos in, reached out, and I was anxious to do it. I was thinking, caring about what others would think of me, and like, oh, that's why is Kobe doing this, blah blah blah. I finally got out of my own way. I think with God's help, obviously, and prayer. And after a couple videos, my best friend reached out and was like, hey, dude, I think it's really cool what you're doing, talking about the gospel. And that was like, that's all I needed, bro. Like, I could have ended the channel right there and I would have been happy. Like, I wanted to reach him in a sense, and I thought that was so cool. And I think that was the seed plan, and I was very grateful for that.
That's
so now
great.
I want to reach people and help people, and something that I'm passionate about. I mean, it's a hobby. I'm going to play video games, so why not do something good with it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of where my head is at, my mindset. So, I've been doing it for only like a month. It's just Clash of Clans gaming videos on YouTube, but I'm very grateful for it. And same as you guys, I'd rather, spread the word this way than going and preaching on a street corner or something like that. I think there's many good ways to evangelize, but yeah, it's just a cool way to reach people. So.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. If you were to just give any advice or say anything to people in your age range specifically about how your walk with God has changed your life, what uplifting advice would you give to them on why should they come to God?
Yeah, it's a deep question. I saw the way I lived before in the past. I wasn't ever happy. I wasn't ever present. Everything just seemed temporary and fading. I didn't know what my purpose was. I still don't fully. I think that's only for God to know. But I feel so much more fulfilled when I'm talking to people like this, when I'm talking to like-minded believers that we are here for a purpose. Everything is so temporary. It's really hard for me to care about money. It's hard for me to care about anything material wise now that a lot of people are searching or chasing, because at the end of the day, you can't take it with you. What's the point? We are here because someone created us. That is God. That's Jesus. That's the Holy Spirit. He created us. He has us here for a purpose, is to reach as many people and bring them to him so that we can have everlasting life. This is just such a small, short life. We are going to live in heaven forever, eternally. So I think if you can just step back and, whether you believe me or not, at least look into it yourself. Try it out for yourself. Another really good book is, this honestly was part of my self-help right before I started reading the Bible, my journey of like, it's called an atheist. He was an atheist, and he's basically went to study the Bible, and he wanted to debunk it, like basically prove why it's false. I can't think of the title right now.
Case for Christ?
Yes, thank you. Case for Christianity. It's a movie and a book. Like,
Case for Christ.
is it? I thought it was Case for Christianity. Okay, you're I don't know. I can't think of it. But anyway, like, I don't know. It's changed me significantly. Like, I am such a different person, and it's for the better. Like, I got out a lot of things that I realized I was bonded to. I was bonded to a lot of these sins, and I was, if I could drink just enough, I would feel okay, or I would feel numb, or I would forget about past things. If I could smoke just enough, if I could gamble and make enough money with this business, whatever. Like, there's always going to be an empty hole, and it's by design. That is from God. We need to come back to him, and he's going to fill us up and fill our cup every day and help us do that to others and lead others to Christ. So I just find purpose every single day. I wake up wanting to be a light, wanting to help others out. I am not necessarily focused on, okay, what am I going to eat today? How's work going to go today? Like, you step back and you focus on things that are a bit more important. A bit is a lot more.
A lot more.
So yeah, I've changed a bunch, and I think some of the things that I wasn't happy about, and I don't think other people would like the cussing. I used to cuss all the time. It was like every sentence, right?
Mhm.
Now I've gotten pretty good at not cussing at all. Like, you can have more genuine, meaningful conversations, and I think once you kind of step back and deny yourself, and if you do, turn to Christianity and baptize yourself and start walking that walk and living with Christ, you will see like negative doors being closed basically, and open positive doors being open. I don't know if that makes sense, but basically there's just so many more opportunities to reach people and talk to people. I would much rather have, genuine conversation with a potential future wife that is in the faith, because we have similar values, right? It's hard to talk to people or try to date someone if you're not in the faith that isn't yet either, because you're just on equally yoked. You're on two different playing fields. And I think as you get into really looking for a relationship, whether it's a wife or a husband or a friend, you need to align on those things. It goes back to your point earlier. It's hard for you to have conversations with a lot of your worldly friends that are maybe non-believers,
Mhm.
because they're talking about things that were like, I kind of overcame that. I see it for what it is now. That was a sin. That was a coping mechanism. That was a vice that helped me temporarily, but Christ is the only one that can help us eternally and help us overcome our worldly pleasures and desires. So,
Yeah.
that was a really long
No, it's a good answer. It's a good answer.
but seriously, like, I'm also mainly talking to my friends and cousins right now, and that I love. Like, I encourage you guys, because you don't realize what you're missing out on, really. Like, you don't. Like, I don't know how I lived of the world in the past. Like, now knowing what I know and just living the way I live and the conversations, interactions I have with people, it's just so much more meaningful. I have so much more joy. I'm so much more present. I'm clear-minded. Like, you just feel healthier, happier, holier. Like, it's I don't
The whole
know. It's
package.
yeah, it's all from God, and it's because of God. So we need to give him the glory, give him the praise. And yeah, why would you want to stay stuck in your old ways if you aren't happy, if you are stuck, if you are stagnant? Um, yeah, just small steps, and he'll meet you where you are. So,
Great.
That's a great answer.
Yeah.
My last question, and it's okay if we end the interview after this.
Sure.
We'll have a formal goodbye and whatnot. But I was thinking as we're talking about this stuff, I know I've made a few jokes about it, but we'll find you a wife through this. I was wondering, what would be your criteria for, they say there's a young lady watching right now and that they're feeling the same thing, like I'm having a hard time finding like a Christian guy.
Yeah.
Maybe share with what you're looking for, because if you're looking for marriage, obviously there's going to be a lot of the things you just talked about. Physical fitness is going to be important to you. The social media aspect of how you see the world through Christ's lens, not social media.
Right.
What are some of the things that you look for in a partner? And if we're going to use a time machine that we use to go back, why don't we go forward, and like in 45, when you're 45 in a few years, what are some of the things that you're going to use that you're learning right now to go forward in that moment when you do have kids? What have you learned in this moment to say, with screens and all these different things that you're going to apply from what you've learned and seen happening around you?
Yeah, good question. I think for me, you can see people and their true intents after you get to know them for a few months. You see their genuine desires. So I'm just personally searching for someone that does bear fruit, right? If you don't understand what that means, that's people that are in the Word, they are Christian, and they're living that each day. It's not a facade, it's not an act, it's not to join society. It's you being your genuine, authentic self and being in the Word. Again, that's what has helped me so much. That has changed me. So I'm going to keep referring to the Bible all the time. So yeah, just stay in the Bible and just I'm looking for similar traits. People that are bearing fruits, that are in the Word, that are serving at their church, that are going to church consistently. You know, life happens, things happen. It's not a religious thing where you have to go every single week or you're not going to be fit, right? It's just consistent, disciplined, challenging yourself and growing, not staying stuck in certain traumas or emotions, right? So that's what I'm personally looking for. That's what I want for my kids. 20 years down the road, I want to challenge them and just trying to encourage them, keep them growing.
You did that doesn't like screens at all, or it'd be like 10, 15-minute increments would
Yeah.
be.
With screens specifically, yeah, to answer that, I'm definitely going to do boundaries, and my kids might not like me for a little bit. Like I love that my parents did that. So yeah, similar to you, I like the challenge idea that you talked about earlier. I thought that was really cool. I'm going to force my kids to probably go play sports, to go outside, to be active, and I like the idea of screens like every other day. Kind of is just a thought that just popped up in my head. I think would be cool. Like I don't think if it's an everyday thing, that's when it's going to become a habit and an addiction. I think if you have a day off, maybe I don't know. I got 20 years to think about it. Well, but yeah, seriously, screen time is not good. It's excessively. I see it every single day at all these different schools I go to. Like these kids are struggling. They're not present. They're not focused. They're foggy minded because they just want to get home and get on that iPad.
Mm-hmm.
So seriously, create those boundaries. Take it away from them. Go play outside and be active with them. Don't force them to go play outside. What I would like to do is go play catch with my son or my daughter outside. Like join them in the activity. Go take them to the park. Don't be like, all right, I'm taking your iPad. I'm just gonna sit here and watch TV myself. Like be an example for your kids too. You know what I mean? So
Thank you very much for being here today.
Yeah, thanks.
You're our
Thank you,
first
guys.
guest, and I think it was a good choice. I think I hope this helps a lot of people.
Yeah.
Maybe people your age and maybe people our age. We can see that we're seeing eye to eye.
Mhm.
I feel like you're kind of living out what we would be had we been living today.
Yeah, it's a cool thing. I feel like when you talk to Christians, whether you're 25 or whether you're 85, there's a reason why we're called brothers and sisters. And because you start to take on the same mind, really. Our minds are focused on accomplishing the same things, on holy things, are focused on trying to spread, be the light in the world and spread goodness. And it's pretty cool hearing it from a 25-year-old, because when I was 25, I believed in God, but I was not in the Word at all. And I did not live a life following Christ at all.
Yeah.
And so it's cool hearing from a 25-year-old and knowing just that it's kind of the same at all ages.
Yeah. I mean, God gave us a manual,
Yeah.
easy, everyday book that we can read, and I'd much rather be positive and spread love than the opposite, negative and hate. And I think we could each look within and just we can all be positive. It's easy. It's a daily choice. We can snap in traffic, or we can take a deep breath, be patient, turn up our music, and relax. So. Yeah. But
Easy to
seriously,
snap in
thank you
traffic.
guys. It's been awesome. I'm happy to be on here with y'all, and it's been really cool. I appreciate you guys and what you guys are doing too. This is really sweet.
So we've talked about your YouTube channel, and you feel really uncomfortable doing it. So I want you to practice looking at the camera and say, please like, subscribe, and share.
All right, this part's hard for me. Appreciate you guys watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share, and we'll see y'all in the next one.
All right. Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Kobe, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right. Bye.
Thanks, Kobe.
Bye.